It's okay. My name is Micheal DiMaggio, and I'm a veteran of the war on childhood obesity. For the injuries I sustained For the injuries I sustained in battle, I was awarded the enlarged Purple Heart. Yeah, I've been fat for a pretty long time now. I'm 22, which is 74 in fat years. 74 in fat years. What did I write after that? Oh yeah, so everybody knows being fat sucks, like health issues obviously, but there's a multitude of problems they don't tell you about. Like when I got fat, I developed trust issues. Like if I'm in a room alone with a cake, I can't trust myself not to eat it, right? I can't listen to comedy on the radio anymore, not while I'm driving at least, and you're probably like, but why? I listen to comedy on the radio sometimes. I've never died in a car crash. Well, you're probably not morbidly obese, so when you laugh, your cheeks don't close your eyes. I learned just how fat I was when I got on a plane, and I realized that I was that guy nobody wanted to get stuck next to. When I get on and I'm walking down the aisle, everybody's staring at me like, please don't sit next to me, please don't sit next to me, please don't sit next to me. And then when I pass them, there's a collective sigh of relief. And like, recently I was on a plane, and I had to sit next to this guy, and he's like looking down, reading his book, you know. I'm like, excuse me, sir, I need to get past you. And he's like, oh, sure. And he looks up at me, and he's like, oh, God. Are you happy, God? And I'm like, oh, well, I was going to be a considerate, passenger, be a nice guy, courteous, keep it to myself. But, once you hear that, you have to be the fattest guy on the plane. So, I learned two things that day. One is that I was so fat that I could send a guy into crippling depression. And two, that, angry old men make beautiful travel pillows. So that was an eye-opener. Everybody hates fat people. Even God hates fat people. Why do you think he made it the stairway to heaven? Also, I've got some bad news for you cripples. I recently heard someone compare obesity to smoking. Which I don't really see it because, nobody's ever gotten secondhand obesity. When I eat a cheeseburger, you're not forced to eat 50% of the grease. Nobody's ever gone to a doctor and been asked, have you noticed recently how ridiculous you look riding a bike? And it's like, well, now that you mention it, the kids have been laughing at me a lot more in the neighborhood. You don't hang out with any fat guys, do you? My cousin Joey comes over. Is he a Cubs fan? Yeah, how'd you know? Jim, I don't know how to tell you this, but you've got stage 4 obesity. And that conversation doesn't happen. And so I have a girlfriend, which for you single people out there, there's no excuse. My girlfriend's anorexic, which is fine because it works out because I pick up her slack. And it's weird having such a fit girlfriend because she's got a 6-pack. And I've got a 24-pack of Mountain Dew in the fridge. So I was talking to her, and I asked, why is somebody with a body like yours with somebody with a body like mine? On my best day, I look like a Walmart greeter with a thyroid condition. And on my worst day, I look like that Star Wars villain. And you know the one I'm talking about. And so she says, you have a nice body. And I said, that's not what my doctor says. Recently I went to get a blood test done, and I was waiting for the results, in the doctor's office, and my doctor comes in, and she's looking, and she's like, huh, really? Hold on, I forgot the punchline, it's the most important part. She looks at me puzzled, and she goes, how are you not diabetic? You should be diabetic. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And that's not a good thing to hear from a medical professional, because they've seen everything, and that means I'm in such bad shape that there's somebody who's completely baffled by the fact that I still have a fully functional pancreas. And that's my set.